My name is Quinn Karam. I'm an attorney at Fellerman Ciarimboli Law. When it comes to rideshare apps, I know a lot of people are confused about how exactly you could hold somebody accountable if you're involved in a crash when you're riding in the backseat of a rideshare. And I think the number one thing to remember is that you don't know who's at fault until we kind of dive into things and figure out what's going on. If you're in the backseat of a rideshare and there's an accident, you don't always know exactly who is at fault. And you might have been in the car with somebody for 15, 20 minutes, you get to know them well. It's easy to want to hop on and take their side. But you got to remember, if they were at fault, sometimes that's the person you may need to sue if you are injured. If you find yourself in that situation, the first thing to do, obviously, is always make sure everybody in the car is okay. After that, you want to get out. You want to take pictures of any kind of damage to the vehicle. You want to make sure you document whatever injuries you might be dealing with. Just make sure you have everything down on paper so that if somebody's asking you about it, you're ready to just rattle off, hey, these are the injuries I had, this is where the car was hit. And I know sometimes it can be difficult if you're like me when you're in the back of a car, you might be looking at your phone, not really paying attention to the road. So you might not exactly know who was at fault. So the best thing to do is be quiet, let the cops come and figure that kind of stuff out. Maybe just don't commit to anything you're unsure about, I think would be my best piece of advice. I know with some of the rideshare apps, you're able to go into your phone and report an accident and say, hey, I got in an accident on this date with this driver. That's okay to an extent. The questions that they ask are where I would start to be careful. If they ask something like, were you in an accident? Where was it located? That's fine to answer. But I saw on one of the apps, the third question was, were you injured? That's where, if you know for a fact you were hurt, if you have a broken bone or something and you want to report that, that's totally fine. One of the options to select is no. And we would never tell you to be dishonest, but we want to say that, and after doing this for a number of years, we see a lot of people that they get in a car accident, their adrenaline's pumping, they're all hyped up, and they don't really feel any pain immediately in that moment. But then 2 days later, they wake up and, they can't turn their head, they've got a bad neck injury, or maybe they have a broken bone they didn't even recognize. So we wouldn't recommend saying no at that point. We would recommend saying, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm injured, I can't really tell yet. If you say something like that, it makes sure that they can't come back and use that information that you gave them against you at a later date. So if you decide to report after that, the best way to move forward is to contact the police. I'm sure they would have been called at that point already. Make sure they get an investigation, give a witness statement to the officers, and always be honest with them. Make sure that you're protecting yourself rather than anyone else around you when it comes to your rights. Make sure that you don't give any information away that can be used against you. Be smart, be safe.